Hi all, I wanted to offer a little bit of a walkthrough on the 1-3 activity this week, which is the mood board. And you'll be getting very familiar with a brand called Fresh Fair Farms throughout this course. And this is what we'll be working on as our milestone projects throughout the course. So there'll be several different projects that you'll work on for this particular client as we traverse through the next 8 weeks. So as you're looking at this mood board activity, make sure to click here into the guidelines and rubric, and this is going to open up this page that really spells out the first part of this project for you. So it has the directions here. You're going to be creating a mood board in Adobe InDesign. You'll want to choose 6 to 10 high-res images. You'll be using their color palette, a stylized tagline, 2 to 3 shapes or patterns, 2 to 3 iconography or illustrations, and a little bit of visual market research. So that'll be page 2. So what to submit. This is the area that shows you exactly what's needed for your submission when you upload it to the assignment area. And very important, you have the supporting materials. So you'll want to download this GRA 415 project client files. And this has the design brief, the brand style guide, the logos, the swatches, iconography, and shapes that are used within the brand. And you can also download the mood board template for this assignment. So I recommend doing that. And you can use that as a starting point to complete the mood board. And of course, it's completely customizable. You can move things around, delete, change things as needed to fit. And another important element throughout this course, you'll be using this attribution tracking spreadsheet. So make sure to download this. This is where you will just keep track of any imagery that you're using in your ads and where you've downloaded it from. So I highly recommend downloading this right off the bat, and any imagery you use in the mood board, you'll want to make sure you track it here. So to begin, download this 415 client files, and when you get that, you'll see you have the logos, the brand guide, iconography, shapes, and very important, this project design brief. The design brief is going to spell out everything that's needed for this project. And you will refer back to this throughout the course for each assignment. This, tells you a bit about the company, about the campaign objective and goals, the target audience, the visual preferences of the target audience, the campaign message. So it has copy for the magazine ad, which we'll be starting work on shortly. We'll be doing a digital advertisement for this and a social media carousel. So it has all the copy for those elements. And then there's campaign taglines, and you'll be using one of these taglines in the mood board. So choose one, and you'll want to make sure you keep that consistent throughout the campaign project. So you're using a consistent tagline throughout all of your pieces. And then the mood board template will look like this when you download it. So one thing that you can do here is import the swatches. And if you go to your swatches menu, you'll see that the swatches are already in that download folder, and I'll go over how to do this again in another video, but just for reference, as you start, you can load those swatches here, clicking this little hamburger menu, and you'll see that swatch file is already in there, and that will load that right into InDesign for you. And you can do this across Photoshop, Illustrator, so that swatch file will work the same in each program. and you load it exactly the same way, opening up the swatches menu and then choosing load swatches. So from here, to sort of begin customizing your mood board, you'll want to take a look for images that represent the brand. And, to start doing that, of course, you want to take a look at the brand guidelines. So you'll note the types of images that are used throughout here. And this will just kind of spell the brand out for you. You'll see the logo, ways to use the logo, ways not to use the logo, the brand mark, the color palette, everything's spelled out here as well. Next up, you want to look at the typography, and you'll notice on the typography page, the typography that's approved is linked here, and these are Adobe fonts. So if you haven't used Adobe fonts before, if you take a look in Module 1 at the resources under multi-channel advertising and mood boards, if you click into that and scroll down a little bit, there is a LinkedIn learning course on learning Adobe fonts. But just to kind of briefly show you, you can click any one of these fonts that are linked and it'll bring you to a web page and you can add that font. So all you have to do is add that. That adds it into Adobe Creative Cloud and it should populate across all of your Adobe software. So it makes it really easy to use. You don't have to download anything, unzip any files, install anything. It just kind of automatically works throughout all the Adobe products. From here, of course, you can take a look at photography and, note the type of photography that should be used. It should feel warm, friendly, optimistic, diverse, and authentic, showcasing moments like how the food is grown or the experience of preparing or enjoying a meal. So they should be naturally lit shots of real people that capture genuine expressions and authentic moments to help relay the brand's message of approachability. So as you're looking for images, look for images that portray these things, and there's some great examples here. If you find these images available for download, you're welcome to use those as well. There are some great stock imagery sites that you can use, and I will make sure to post some links in the announcements with this video. And of course, there's also illustrations. You'll note that there's this seed pattern that can be used in the background to add some interest. So this usage should be limited to small areas and with an opacity. There's also a very unique feature to this brand, which are the shapes. The shapes can be used to mask photos, add fluidity to collateral. You can rotate, resize, fill them with color or tints of color, bleed them off the page. And examples of their usage are depicted in these brand guidelines. So you'll notice this is a shape here. Obviously, it's made kind of large to bleed off the page. There's a shape here with an image in it. There's a shape here with an image in it. And then if you go all the way back to the beginning, another shape here. So you can use these shapes to mask images. So as you begin to work on your mood board, think about ways you can add shapes in those images that you find. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and place some images in. Then of course you can resize those to fit. And then if you want to try playing with the shapes, I would recommend opening that up in Illustrator. Choosing a shape that you want to use. And again, keep in mind you can always rotate, bleed these off the page, etc. And then once you copy and paste one of the shapes from Illustrator here, you can just do a File Place or a Control D and select And then you can sort of resize it to fit that shape, and then shift things as needed. You can also, you know, delete the words. Now there's some different colors in the background. These are just different blocks that you could add colors into if you wanted to. You can get rid of that. Maybe you can, if you want to do like one full color background, you can do that. If you want to use all three, you're fine to do that as well. So just adding images in as you see fit. And I'm going to go ahead and just delete the words. You know, shapes and patterns, again, that's this image here. If you want to add that in, you can. Again, you know, keep in mind visual preferences of the audience, simplicity in designs. You can add an opacity. As you start to think about the tagline, again, refer back to that design brief and choose one of those taglines. I'm just going to go ahead and choose the local sustainable fresh. You can just copy that in if you wanted to. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the provided fonts, so Futura PT Bold. If you wanted to kind of mix things up and put some emphasis on the word fresh, you can use the Filmotype LaSalle, and maybe instead of all caps, we can use this. And this kind of echoes what the look of the logo is as well. And then we could use maybe green. We'll shrink this down to fit. Of course, you want to be able to pull the logo in here as well. And you can just grab this. One thing I'd recommend you do when you open the logo, this one doesn't look like it's grouped. I would just highlight everything here and just do a Control-G. That way nothing gets shifted around. Copy and paste. And when you're resizing anything in InDesign, I recommend using either this up here, or you can use the free transform tool and make sure you hold the shift key. And like I said, you're welcome to move things around if you'd like. So if you wanted to pull in the icons here, you can do that. We'll resize those to fit. I don't think we necessarily need the frames in the background. We can probably get rid of these. And again, if we want to try a different shape, let's pull this one in. Copying and pasting. Have some of those overlapping shapes and add some images in. You know, playing with text for the tagline. Color palette here, you can add these in, you know, just from your swatches. One thing to note, these go from a tint of 10, 20, so they're by tens. So as you add these in, you might have to adjust the tint. Just make sure they're all at 100%. You can also select all of these and adjust so the tint is 100. And then add colors in from there. So choosing those colors from the color palette. And yeah, you can go ahead and delete these elements that you don't need. You know, pulling in other images, you can certainly do that and, you know, sort of figure out where you want images to be placed. You can have images sort of overlap if you want. You can adjust the size here of the icons. Images. So once you get your mood board to where you like it, don't forget about your visual market research summary. So that's that summary of how the findings of visual market research have been considered in the mood board. So, you know, obviously you want to take a look at what some of the competitors to Fresh Fair Farms might be. And, you know, obviously Fresh Fair Farms is a fictional company, but it's a meal preparation delivery service. So you can look at brands like HelloFresh and Blue Apron and those sorts of things and see what they're doing and how their brands sort of compare and what you find successful about what they do. And, you know, take that into consideration as you do this part of your mood board. So you can do a file export and or you can do an Adobe PDF, high quality print, smallest file size, either one works, and you'll submit it that way for the assignment. So again, just make sure you're, you know, taking a look at the resources here, and taking a look at the Module 1 activity guidelines and rubric to make sure you have everything that you need for your submission. And if you have any questions, let me know.